Now, by the way, just about American politics for a second, Stephen. Your team spent $1 billion and ended up $20 million in the hole. They spent $2.5 million on Oprah Winfrey.
Now, you know Oprah has denied that, and Beyonce has denied that.
Well, about personal payment, but whether their companies, Harper, but you get the point, right? Look, people win and lose elections for a whole bunch of reasons. And I'm sorry, it's late enough at night, I'm going to say it. How do you piss away $1 billion?
That's a very good question.
Like, surely you could spend $750 million and lose.
They got themselves convinced that on a couple of issues, like, as an example, abortion, that there were all these Republican women who were going to vote against Trump, still for the rest of the Republican ticket, but against Trump. And what the referenda in 4 of the swing states, they voted for abortion rights to be enshrined in the legislation, and yet they still voted for Trump.
Yep.
So this tactic was an epic fail, and there was a lot of effort to try and farm a vote that didn't exist. Yeah. And that's how you waste a lot of money.
Okay, and in a machine, right, presumably if you've got $200 million, you've got access to the best, data thing in the world to have a look around this corner or under this and lift this and all of that, right? But obviously the data was wrong. Right? Now, we know they were spinning and BSing and all the rest of it, but you don't keep spinning. I mean, when you know you're losing, all right? So how do you change the data when the data is wrong? I mean, famously, there was sort of the 2019 Labor thinks their data was headed this way, and then they changed some things for 22. What do you do? Because presumably these are...
The trick in the US system, though, is because it's sometimes about trying to encourage the other parties' voters not to turn out.
Right.
So the reason the tactics are a bit different, and why, yourself and others have said you can't just follow the Trump playbook because everyone has to come to vote. So you do 2 things in an election campaign in the US that you don't do in Australia. You've got to encourage your voters to come out, and you've got to discourage your opponent's voters. So you've got to keep running the negative ads, try and dissuade them to come.
Yeah.
In Australia, that can't work by definition. People turn up.